Welcome to Breaking News to Trading Moves.
We're here to look at a major regulatory event in the weight loss pharmaceutical sector.
And our goal today is to zero in on how this approval immediately changes things for key market players based on the material you've given us.
That's right. We need to isolate the essential details and review which companies are positioned to capitalize on this and which ones now face some new pressures.
So let's start with the headline news itself. The FDA has approved Novo Nordisk's Wegovy.
But not just the injectable. This is the key. It's in a simple oral format, a pill.
And that's a first. It makes Novo Nordisk the first company to bring a potent oral obesity drug to market.
We saw the market reaction right away. Shares of Novo Nordisk, that's ticker NVO, they jumped pretty much immediately.
It wasn't a slow burn at all.
No, it was instant validation. But Eli Lilly, ticker LLY, well, they traded roughly flat.
And that's because investors are trying to figure out how quickly Lilly can respond with their own oral version.
Exactly. It's a complex process.
I want to focus on that point. Why is a pill so important?
Yeah.
We've had injections for years.
It's all about patient preference and accessibility. The material points this out pretty clearly. An oral drug captures that pill preference segment.
People who just don't want to do injections.
Right. Needle phobia, lifestyle, whatever the reason. This broadens the total market demand for the whole category.
So it's not just about preference, it's also about logistics.
It's a big part of it. A pill solves a lot of problems. You remove the need for that strict cold chain distribution, which complicates everything.
It also makes it easier for a patient to start. A daily pill feels like a smaller commitment than a weekly self-administered shot.
It's a much smaller psychological hurdle, yes. So the total potential market just got a lot bigger.
Okay, so the whole market grows, but the benefits aren't shared equally. Let's talk about that first mover advantage for Novo Nordisk, NVO. It seems substantial.
It is. They get an early, uncontested lead in capturing all these new patients who prefer pills. They get to establish the brand, collect the real-world data first.
And the material says the next major oral competitor, which is expected to be Eli Lilly's orforglipron, might not arrive until 2026.
Potentially 2026. That is a huge window for Novo to operate as the only player in the branded oral space.
And it's not just about being first. Manufacturing these oral GLP-1s is apparently very difficult.
It is. Scaling it up to the volume and purity needed is a real challenge. I think Lilly's flat stock performance shows that investors get it.
So the overall market is growing, which helps Lilly long-term, but the immediate fight for the oral segment is Novo's to lose for the next couple of years.
That's a good way to put it. Novo has the tactical advantage of timing.
Now let's bring in another key element, the pricing. The material talks about a November deal framework.
Yes, where Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly too agreed to sell starter doses of their weight loss pills for $149 a month once they were approved.
That $149 price point, it feels very strategic.
It is. It's not an arbitrary number. You have to ask, what's the motive behind that specific price?
Okay, so who is that $149 targeting?
It's aimed at Medicare and Medicaid patients and also certain cash-paying patients who don't have coverage.
Ah, okay. For that hash pay group, $149 is a completely different calculation compared to, say, an off-label prescription or a compounded version.
That's the connection. Before this, a lot of those patients had to go to compounded GLP-1 channels because the branded shots were just too expensive without good insurance.
So by offering a branded FDA-approved pill for $149, Novo is basically undercutting the compounded market from day one.
Precisely. It should accelerate adoption in those groups. But the long-term effect is that this low entry price might put downward pressure on general drug pricing down the line. It sets an expectation.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The pill expands the market, and the price point funnels that new demand away from the gray market and into the official channels.
And that lets us clearly identify our first category of winners.
Let's start there. Category 1. The branded GLP-1 obesity leaders. So Novo Nordisk, NVO, and Eli Lilly LLY.
The rationale is straightforward. This approval is a category expander. It validates the entire investment idea for obesity treatments.
It confirms that patient demand will just keep growing as the treatments get more convenient.
And Novo Nordisk, they benefit immediately. They're first to market with the pill, turning that head start into market share.
And Lilly. They have to wait, but they still benefit from the overall market growth and rising expectations for their own oral drug.
Yeah, the rising tide for the category buoys both of them.
Okay, so we've covered the manufacturers. Let's move down the supply chain. Category 2, drug distributors. Companies like McKesson, MCK, and Cencora COR.
Well, when you have a product like this, one that removes barriers for patients, the total number of prescriptions written just goes up.
More scripts, more volume.
And distributors benefit directly from that higher throughput. They're the ones moving the product through retail, mail order, all of it. More units moved means more revenue for MCK and COR.
The pill format probably also makes their job a little easier. Less complex handling than a refrigerated injection.
It definitely smooths out the logistics. But the real gatekeepers are next. Category 3, PBMs and retail pharmacy operators.
We're talking about CVS Health, ticker CVS, and United Health's Optum division, UNH.
And this is where that $149 starter dose becomes so important again.
Because the PBMs, the pharmacy benefit managers, they control which drugs get covered and where patients go.
Right. So more use of these high-demand obesity drugs means more pharmacy volume and more patient traffic for CVS and Optum. They're processing more claims, filling more prescriptions.
And that low price point steers patients, even cash pay patients, into these established channels instead of compounded alternatives.
Exactly. When a patient gets the FDA-approved $149 pill through a CVS, it reinforces the power of these PBMs and large pharmacy chains. They capture volume that might have gone elsewhere.
This sets up the other side of the coin perfectly. If all this volume is flowing into the branded, PBM-controlled channels, then someone else is losing out.
Let's look at the companies facing new pressures. Category 1, compounded GLP-1 dependent telehealth and weight loss sellers.
So Hims and Hers, ticker HIMS, and LifeMD, LFMD.
For them, this is a direct threat. A widely available FDA-approved branded pill, plus that aggressive starter price, it really weakens the case for compounded alternatives.
Their whole business model is built on offering a cheaper, more accessible option when the branded injectables were hard to get.
And now a low-cost, FDA-approved oral option is here. The demand for their product is going to feel that pressure. It squeezes their customer acquisition costs.
They were filling an access gap, and Novo just decided to close that gap themselves.
It's a classic case of substitution risk playing out.
Okay, moving to Category 2, bariatric surgery and surgical device makers. This affects companies like Stryker, SYK, and Medtronic MDT.
The issue here is procedure substitution. As these drug treatments get better and easier to start a pill versus an injection, the risk grows that patients will just delay or even avoid surgery.
It's the path of least resistance. If you can get the results you want with a pill, you're much less likely to opt for major surgery with all the costs and risks involved.
Correct. And that risk directly impacts the demand for the devices and tools that SYK and MDT supply for those procedures.
So fewer surgeries means less demand for their products. This seems like a longer-term pressure.
It is a long-term theme, but the launch of an oral drug definitely accelerates the concern.
All right, let's cover our last category, Category 3. The earlier stage oral obesity biotechs. The material mentioned Viking Therapeutics, VKTX, and Structure Therapeutics, GPCR.
Novo's success just raised the bar for everyone else trying to develop a competing oral GLP-1.
How so?
Well, investors are now judging these pipeline drugs against Novo's proven efficacy, its safety profile, its massive manufacturing scale, and its new pricing structure. It's not enough to just show your drug works anymore.
The standard for entry just got much higher, so until companies like VKTX or GPCR can show data that is clearly better in some way,
like better efficacy or a much cleaner side effect profile,
investor attention might just stay with the proven leaders.
Investors tend to lean towards certainty, and right now, Novo and Lilly offer that certainty. The smaller biotechs have to prove they can compete against these two giants who now control the narrative for both injections and pills.
So, to sum this up, the approval of an oral Wegovy expands the entire treatment category, which is a positive. But at the same time, it raises the competitive standard and redirects patient volume, creating pressure on alternatives and new entrants.
Yes, and the key strategic move dictating all of this, at least for now, is that conversation around the $149 starter dose. That price point sets a precedent.
You might consider how that specific price will shape what patients expect and what insurance companies will debate over the next year, given the demand for these treatments. That pricing is the tactical linchpin here.
Thank you for joining us for this analysis.
And we must conclude with our mandatory statement. This is not financial advice or buy or sell recommendations. This is purely the opinion of the author.